here in the virtual space. My name is Beth Carter. I'm the curator at the gallery. I've been here for 7 years now, and it's such a pleasure to work with the beautiful collections here at the Bill Reid Gallery. And I'd like to introduce my colleague.
My name's Aliya Boubard. Bonjour, Aliya Dyes, Savey. My name is Aliya, and I'm the assistant curator here at the Bill Reid Gallery. I come from Savey First Nation, located on Treaty 1 territory in Manitoba.
So this evening, we are going to introduce the exhibition themes and give you a brief tour of the exhibition. And then at the end of the evening, we will have a prize raffle draw, and we'll be able to take some questions at the end as well. But to start us off in a good way, I'm very pleased to welcome Mary Point from the Musqueam Nation, who will welcome us to this territory. Thank you, Mary.
Haichka Beth. Asiam Nesiaya Anta Mary Point, Tanitana Kumatquiam, Amit Sepquatquilum. Honored visitors to this virtual space. In the language of my ancestors, I let you know that my name is Mary Point and I'm from Musqueam, and I welcomed you to this beautiful event. Right here, where I am sitting, I'm in Musqueam tonight. I work at the airport, so I'm speaking to you from my office, and the airport sits in Musqueam territory. And as a result of that, there is a big, beautiful Bill Reid piece in the middle of the airport that I walk past almost every day. It's a wonderful gathering space, and it's an amazing marker for all who want to learn about some of the art in this region, along with our Musqueam artists and representation from many Indigenous communities across the province. Many of my family and relatives and friends have had some interaction with Bill Reid in past years, and some even worked on that particular piece, The Spirit of Haida Gwaii, the Jade Canoe, as it's called fondly here at the airport. I just am so pleased to be here this evening, and I'm just going to let you know, I'm actually filling in for my sister Audrey, who couldn't be here tonight, and I won't be able to stay for the whole event, sadly, because I have to go look after my grandchildren. But I just want to start you off in a good way, in the way that we were taught to do by our elders. So I'm going to share with you our Musqueam paddle song. It's a song that comes from my great uncle Dominic Point. His traditional name was Tiakset. It's a song that we sing when we're paddling into a new community to let people know that we're coming with good intentions. It's a song that we sing when we're standing on our shores to welcome newcomers and to share a little bit of who we are. It's also a song that we sing at the beginning of any new journey, whether it be a wedding or a funeral or a graduation or important days like today. So whenever you hear this song, you'll know it's Musqueam that's welcoming you and singing for you. Drawing, and to all the hands that helped put it together, and to all of you as you begin exploring all these fabulous pieces in the gallery this evening. We raise our hands because you've lifted us up, and we want to lift you up in return. So, hi, Tsefka. Thank you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Mary. That was beautiful. We really, really appreciate you coming this evening to welcome us all to this program tonight. So the Bill Reid Gallery is located on the unceded ancestral territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, and we are so grateful to be situated on these beautiful lands and do our work here every day. And as an Indigenous contemporary art gallery, we believe very strongly in the messages and the information and the education we can share with the general public about the Indigenous peoples of the Northwest Coast. So tonight we are here to open the Well-Made Object exhibition. And this exhibition is inspired by one of Bill Reid's favorite expressions, which was joy is a well-made object. And it brings us great joy to bring these items to you. The exhibition is a selection of beautiful cultural treasures from our permanent collection. And I would like to thank we need to recognize our exhibition supporters, who are the BC Arts Council, the province of BC, the city of Vancouver, and we also would like to recognize our collections partner, which is Simon Fraser University. So it was a lot of fun, really, for us to dig into our collections that are rarely seen too much. We have a small but very significant collection that recognizes contemporary Indigenous artists, some of the most amazing artists working on the coast these days, and some who were good friends of Bill Reid, and others who are more recent artists to the collection. And so tonight we have a selection of these pieces that maybe have not been on exhibit for a few years, as well as some of our recent acquisitions to the collection. And we really want to thank all the people who have supported the Bill Reid Gallery and Bill Reid Foundation and gifted us with beautiful collections. And we have a small acquisitions program as well. We are hoping to build that up with time, but for now, mostly we rely on the beautiful generosity of us, our supporters. So when we were thinking about the exhibition and bouncing off the ideas from Bill Reid, what is a well-made object? That's really the question. And Aliya and I had some good conversations, kind of thinking beyond the most obvious recognition of the quality of the piece. And Bill Reid said, he drummed it into all of the people he worked with, that we had to aspire to the best quality of object to be made, and to really work hard to do that. But when we started to break it down, we started to realize that it goes beyond quality. There's many more ideas inherent in this idea of the well-made object. And I think, Aliya, what was the next one we talked about? We talked about
I would say passion, definitely, because that's such a big part of artists and what they put into their projects. Passion is, I would say, pretty much half of the process of making something, especially in Indigenous art, when there is so much more that goes behind creating an item, like cultural backgrounds and the connections to your ancestors, which is a really big part of it.
And we thought also about that, Bill Reid, because he grew up outside of his Haida community to start with, and he only started to reconnect in his early 20s, and that digging into his history and ancestry and learning about where the artists who had come before him, this idea of connecting to the values of historical collections, a big part of what makes a well-made object. And actually in the Haida language and in many Indigenous languages, there is no word for art. So in Haida, there's a concept of deeply carved, and to have something that's deeply carved is sort of equivalent to the well-made object. It's really digging deeper into the connections between the history of that piece, or the even if it's a very abstracted contemporary form of a traditional art form, it's still connected somehow. And then there's ideas of innovation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say today there are so many artists who are working not only just in traditional art forms and the Indigenous art world, but also, you know, breaking those boundaries and taking it one step further and creating something new while still following those same traditions.
Yeah. And then there's the sheer number of hours, and it connects to passion, really, the process that people go through. And Bill actually brought many new processes to Northwest Coast Art, and there's people now working in glass, in pottery, and things that you don't traditionally find here on the Northwest Coast, but are bringing new processes. Like Bill is famously known for bringing repoussé technique to his metal work. And also he was one of the first artists to start working in bronze here on the coast. There's a number of people who started all around the same time. So these ideas of the well-made object encompasses both quality, process, innovation, the history, and then the passion. And I think, you know, when we top it all off, there's a wee bit of just magic in there too. So we really tried to select pieces from our permanent collection that help to illustrate these themes and ideas. And we invite people to come and visit the gallery and see the works up close and personal. We'll just be giving you a sneak peek as we walk through and show you the gallery as it is right now. So we're going to walk to the other, I should say that if you do have questions, and please do put them in the chat function, and we'll have time for a few questions at the end. So we're going to walk down towards our elevator. Those who've been here before know. So we have several works, beautiful photos here. One by Uli Stelzer, who is a non-Indigenous artist, but a very well-known photographer who passed away a couple of years ago, close friend of Bill Reid's. And we're very happy that we have this wonderful photo of Robert Davidson and Reg Davidson and the Rainbow Creek Dancers that is now part of our collection. We also were gifted by the artist, by David Neel, these two wonderful portraits of Bill that were done in the early 1990s, so just a few years before he passed away. And you can see his personality really shines through in these photos. As we were looking through the collections, thinking about what we wanted to display, one of our initiatives that we've been focusing on with our collections development over the last few years is really to build up the number of women artists who are represented. And we're not very far yet, but it is something that we are taking into account whenever we're considering acquiring new things. So we have a beautiful case of basketry here, an Inklapamuk basket from the interior Salish region, a recent donation of a Nuchano chief's hat, which is by Cecilia Savey, and Martine Reed was very kind to donate that to us recently. We have some more historic Nuchano baskets, and then these two baskets at the front are really treasures of our collection. They are by Meghann O'Brien, who is a Haida and Kwakwaka'wakw weaver. She does both wool weaving and basketry, and these baskets are so beautifully fine and refined. The weaving is so tiny that for this bigger basket on the top, Meghann shared with us that there's over 33,000 stitches in this one basket alone. So the time and effort and quality that she puts into her work is incredible. And we're so thrilled to have them in the collection. This larger basket was gifted to us by David Alexander and Diana Wagner, and we thank them so much for that gift.
So over here in this case, we have two pieces by the Haida artist Dorothy Grant. So we have a recent purchase for our collection, a beautiful felt hat here. And then we also have this beautiful jacket that was actually custom made for Joanne McDonald, this jacket was actually gifted by George and Joanne McDonald for our collection. But it's a really great depiction of Dorothy's work, and she is a very talented artist here in BC.
Coming around the corner, we have several prints, and one by Beau that he gifted to us at the opening of his solo exhibition that took place here at the Bill Reid Gallery called Box of Treasures. And so Beau was a close friend of the gallery and of many, many people, and we were so sad to lose him a couple of years ago. And then we have this wonderful contemporary print by Brent Bennett, a Haida artist who went to Montreal to study advanced printmaking techniques. And this is a view of Montreal, but it's overlaid with completely overlaid with ovoid forms. And I think it kind of speaks to a bit about his homesickness when he was there in Montreal. And we primarily collect works by Northwest Coast artists, but we do have a few exceptions. And the works the clay works in this case are by Judy Chartrand. She is a Cree Métis artist originally from Manitoba, but has lived her entire life here in BC and in Vancouver. And this bowl that is in the front is really heartfelt, amazing piece that talks about the missing and murdered women. It's called In Memory of Those No Longer With Us. It's just really talks about the situation with murdered and missing women, and it was done and inspired by the Women's March that takes place every year on February 14th in the downtown east side. So that is coming up soon, and I encourage anybody who would like to support that. It's a really wonderful initiative, a grassroots initiative by the community. And this bowl really helps us to understand some of the issues around that. We also have this wonderful new piece by Marika Swan. It's a print. It's called Your Power Is Yours. We acquired this print a couple of years ago. We had a wonderful exhibition called Kayoch, which means the water. Now I'm forgetting because that is a few years ago, but it was co-curated by the Rematriate collective, and Marika was one of the artists in the show. And we just thought that this print is very contemporary, but also so powerful about women and their role within community. And behind me, this is an actual drawing by Lyle Wilson that is also part of our collection and was donated by Arvind Seth. And speaking of the Rematriate collective, we were also gifted with this lovely print, which talks about Rematriate. And the Rematriate collective is very involved in providing good representative role models for women, Indigenous women and all women. Over to Aliya.
So in this case here, we have a couple of different pieces. So there's a Tom Eneas mask. We have a pair of earrings by Morgan Asoyuf, and then a very special drum made by Art Thompson that was actually awarded to Bill Reid back in 1992, which is actually one of my personal favorites from our collection. But I think this is a really great group of items that shows the diversity of our collection and the amazing skills and craft that goes into all of the stuff in our collection here.
And then we have a grouping of some of the Bill Reid works that maybe have not been able to be seen. Specifically this bedspread that's behind us, because it's a very large piece. It's been in our collection storage, and we haven't had the opportunity to have it on public display for recently in recent years. I was talking to Martine Reid, and she tells me that this was a belated wedding gift to her that Bill had made. And there is a little glitch in it, though, that she told us that the seamstress reversed the side panels. So you have to look very carefully to be able to see it. But it was still well loved and was on bed in their home for many years. And we even have a little coffee stain on it. So we know that people really enjoyed it, and it was well used and well loved. Right behind us here, we have some of our archive collections. And this has been something we've been focusing on the last few years, is building up and putting more structure around papers and ephemera and information about Bill Reid. This is this amazing salmon portfolio that was produced by the Canadian government in 1974, and Bill made the outdoor, the design for the cover of the book and also for the cover of the portfolio. And this was recently donated to us by Verna Kirkness. And then we also have a variety of programs that are from the Spirit of Haida Gwaii concert series that Bill started and that was continued long after his life at the Museum of Anthropology Haida House. And then later, the Bill Reid Foundation did a major concert that was held at the Chan Center. So these are just a sampling of the type of archival materials that we have in the collection, as well as many, many photos of Bill. This Plushie Bear is maybe not something that you think of as a well-made object, but we love it, and it's so cuddly. And it was produced by the Museum of Anthropology at UBC to represent the large wooden bear that Bill carved. So it's a touch of, that bear was originally created for Walter Kerner's grandchildren to play on, and it then has now become a very important part of the UBC collections. And this bear, it's one of most people's favorites who go to visit Bill Reid at MOA. And in our discovery room, the Hummingbird Gathering Space, we have several works by Michael Nicoll Yahgulanaas. These were sketches that he worked on for the film that's also playing in the room. And he created these sketches, and then he, as a way to animate a story that we call the unfinished story, or the Raven's Call. This was a story that Bill Reid wrote about the huge totem pole that was at the Royal Ontario Museum that came from his grandmother's village of Tanu. And he imagined what would happen if the figures on the pole decided to go home. And so Michael animated the story or drew the illustrations for the animation. And it's a really marvelous story, and it's a great short film for people to watch in the gallery.
So over here we have a collection of prints and paintings that we've included in the exhibition. So this is a commissioned piece that we actually had in To Speak with a Golden Voice, which was an exhibition that we had on Bill Reid in 2020 for his 100th birthday. So it's a very special piece, and Corey is actually also a Haida artist. And over here we have a beautiful serigraph print created by Robert Davidson. Robert Davidson is a prolific Haida artist working in very contemporary matters and themes. This was actually donated or gifted in memory of Dr. Glenn Owen Bowlesby. So it's a very special piece, and it's a recent acquisition. We just got it last year. So over here we also have a sketch and a painting by Phil Gray. Phil is a Tsimshian and Cree artist based here in Vancouver. And then over here we have a print by Joe David. So it's called Eagle's Gift, and it was made in 1981. And we'll go back over there.
We'll just finish in front of this two recent acquisitions that I'm just going to get you to aim over here. This is a lovely Orca drawing that Bill Reid made in around 1986. He actually made it for a man named Roger Gaudry, and Roger passed it on to his daughter, Therese Gaudry, and then it's come to us from the estate of Therese Gaudry. So we appreciate that donation. And it was very special to them. I guess Bill was in Montreal in the mid-80s and met Roger. And he drew this inside the recently published book on biography of Bill Reid's life that was written by Doris Shadbolt. And they actually took the page out of the book and framed it. So included in the gift was the actual original book with the page missing. So there's wonderful little stories that come along with many of these pieces. And last but not least, later in life, Bill turned to wire. He folded wire into these amazing creatures. And this is a frog that was donated by Tony and Hildegard Cavelti. In the side of the case, Bill actually wrote the Cavelti frog and signed it. And it is so full of life and character, and is just, I always think that the wire sculptures by Bill are such a indication of his creative genius in 3 dimensions. So he was really a sculptor and able to look at the world in different ways. So that's the end of our tour. Just a tidbit to give you a chance to see what's in the gallery, and we hope you will come back again and see it in person. You can pick up this little pamphlet that we've created that will highlight some of the pieces in the show. And we are I don't know, are there any questions on that?
Not yet, but I'm wondering if you could speak about the size of the bedspread.
The size of the bedspread? Oh, the sides, yes. So I'm being asked to speak about the sides of the bedspread. So this is a Thunderbird design in the middle. And then it's actually a killer whale design along the sides. And so this would be on the top of the bed, and these would fold down the sides of the bed. And so these side panels are the ones that got mixed up. So what you have is you have the head of the whale, and then this is the tail of the whale. You can see this is the tail with the flukes. And then this is the body of the whale with the dorsal fin. And so what happened is, and this is what makes it very unique, is that the body of the whale should be aiming down and that this tail should be at the top. So the seamstress should have put this panel on that side and vice versa. So it is a unique piece because it's a headless whale. Or as Martine says, the whale doesn't know which direction it's supposed to go. But we think it's beautiful, and we chose it as the main image for the show, a detail of this. So you can see this in the pamphlet, and people are really enjoying seeing it in the gallery for sure.
So somebody's just asking about Phil Gray's painting, and if you could talk a little bit about what that painting is about.
Okay, let's go back over to Phil Gray's painting, and we'll talk just a wee bit about Phil Gray's painting. Now, Phil has called this painting, this is a sketch, a pen and ink sketch that he did. And then we're very lucky, it's rare to get both the sketch and the painting together. This sketch, they're both from 2012. And Phil named it, did not give it a name, it's called Untitled. And so we are left to imagine some of the possibilities of what this painting might be representing. Because it's like, you can see that there is a full form line design behind in the back of the painting. And then he has put, and which you can see here, And then he has put the circles on top and covered them over with black. So it's like he's matted out, or he's shone a spotlight on different parts of the paintings. And so we could interpret that to mean that he's asking us to look at these spots in the painting in different ways and try and imagine. It might be also an indication that he is kind of telling us that we only have access to part of the story of the painting, and that we do not have permission to have full access into the design of the painting. I'm sure that there's many other interpretations, and I have to say I have not had the pleasure to talk to Phil in person about what he's in, some of his ideas behind it. So I'm hoping that I will get that chance soon.
Two related questions. If you could speak about the black and red piece.
Okay.
Robert Davidson's, and why is black and red so common?
Why is black and red so common? Okay, so, well, did you want to talk more, or do you want me to?
Black and red.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I'll just talk about the colors. So, well, I think originally it was the dyes that were traditionally available at that time. That's the kind of colors that would reoccur. So I think black and red is more Haida, and it's more northern. Typically throughout the coast, there are different colors that have been used, but Robert Davidson is Haida, and same with Corey, so they kind of pair really well. You want to talk a little bit more about Robert's painting?
Yeah, so Robert is, I'm sure most of you are familiar with Robert Davidson's work. Robert was a close personal friend of Bill's, and he grew up in Haida Gwaii and came down to the city as a teenager to go to high school, and met Bill at that time, and worked alongside of Bill, and they were good friends for many, many years. They both are such important artists in the study of Northwest Coast art. And what Robert has been doing, I mean, he started out with very traditional form line designs of supernatural beings and clan symbols. And then gradually he has created, really pushed the boundaries of those designs into much more abstract shapes and forms, just going down to the core essential elements of the piece. So this print is actually representing a grizzly bear, and you can see that through the sharp teeth and the big rounded nose up here, but really you see the eye, the nose, and this very dramatic mouth. So we're just coming down to the essence of the form line design. But this is a silk screen print. I'm told that Robert starts with paintings, and he will design paintings, and then he'll decide which of those paintings he would like to also transform into print form. The print itself is only up to the red, and it's signed in the corner, and then it's being framed with the very dramatic black border and mat and frame. So it really, this painting just pops, it just vibrates in the space. It's really amazing, and we're very, very happy to have it in the collection.
Last question, the basket's made of bear grass.
Let's go take a look at the baskets. So when we're looking at the baskets, we have a range of types of materials that are created here. So we have the traditional New Channel baskets are made out of bear grass. They start with a cedar bark core, and then they have swamp grass and bear grass and dye to make the different elements. So the different types of grass are collected, dried, prepared, split, and then transformed into these. We call these curio baskets and mats. These would have been made by women who had incredible basketry skill, but they made these specifically for sale to bring to support their families. And they were known to bring the baskets to sell in the cities and even sometimes door to door in different communities. The beautiful lids. The dyes, you can tell, are very fragile. So we have the light lower in this section, and they do fade very quickly. This hat at the back is a very traditional shape. It was made by Cecilia Savey, and it was made in 1994. So it's a more recent hat, and it is all cedar bark. So in this instance, they did not use the different types of grass. They used all cedar bark. This basket here is a, from the interior of BC, is a cedar root. It is a coiled technique, and it is then covered with a design which we call imbricated design, and it is dyed cherry bark, and maybe a different kind of bark as well that has been wrapped around the outside of the coils. And I should mention that this lovely basket was donated to us in memory of Carl Hart, who was Chief James Hart's son, who sadly passed away. And this was donated by Penny Wilson, who is related, Carl was her great nephew. So this, if we, really, it's a great thing to be able to honor Carl's memory. And Carl worked here in the gallery. He helped his dad with the creation of the beautiful Bill Reid Memorial Pole. That's a central feature of the gallery. And last but not least, Meghann O'Brien's baskets are made of yellow cedar. And it's really amazing to think that these are made of cedar, because what she does is she splits the cedar bark so into thin little threads. The threads, the cedar is so finely split, so it looks more like grass than cedar, but it is yellow cedar. Any other questions? They are called Aniline Dyes. So it would be a commercial dye that was introduced post. They are not natural dyes. Though I think that many, many years ago, they would have been probably, plant-based dyes, but these are aniline dyes. Waiting for any further questions. We have to have the questions relayed to us from down the hall. So I apologize that we are looking over our shoulder the whole time. I think that brings the end. So now we get the fun of pulling the name from the hat or from the cookie tin to see who gets to win this beautiful gift bag that has been put together. You're going to pull the tin. Okay. It's being put together by the Bill Reid Gallery shop. It includes one of the Bill Reid To Speak with the Golden Voice books and a small print of one of Bill Reid's works, as well as a coupon for Cycle City, which is one of our local business partners, actually right across the street from the gallery. So you can come for a visit to the gallery and then go for a lovely bike ride. So Aliya, we cut up everybody's name who registered and put it in this lovely cookie tin or candy tin left over from Christmas. And Aliya is pulling
Linda the clerk.
Oh, that's wonderful. Linda, wonderful. Linda was one of the donors of the pieces, the Bill Reid piece around the corner. So awesome. Yes. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everybody. Please do come back and visit. We look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon. And if you are not already signed up for our e-newsletter, please do, and then you'll know about our public programs, workshops, and other events happening here at the gallery. Have a good rest of your evening. Take care. Bye.